What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode review of the Bad Batch series. This is episode 4. This episode is called Cornered. My name is Bogz. I'll be your host for this episode, of course. I cannot do this review by myself. I'm with my good friend and co-host Sol this side. How are you today, Sol?
Doing good. And right as we start, Dom Toretto had to go outside again too. So I apologize for any noise by Dom. He really cares about family. I know this is the wrong franchise, but he's out there, guys. He's out there.
Apology accepted. If you get that reference. No, it's it's a thing. Everyone's recording from home at the minute, so what can you do? But anyway, yeah. So we'll just give our quick reviews, I think, of the first episode. A quick episode review, and then we'll get into it. Overall, I'll say I didn't feel the episode did a whole lot in terms of moving the plot forward or the story forward. There's a lot of things that especially the first episode touched on. It's not really. It's been like moving along really slowly now. I felt, but there was a big character reveal with Fennec Shan and her connection with Omega, and just kind of some sprinklings of her involvement in the overall kind of story moving forward, or with her kind of plot lines in the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian season 1 and 2, of course. But just overall, I thought it was a little slow. But yeah, it was some interesting character stuff with her and some cool fight scenes as well. But overall, I thought it didn't do a whole lot in terms of moving the overall story forward. What about you? Your overall thoughts, please?
Yeah, this was a much slower episode. There were still good parts in it, but this one felt more of like a Clone Wars episodes of like the first two seasons, which is a little slower, still enjoyable, but not at the heights of what this started at. Because we started Order 66, so we started pretty high with this show, but there was Fennec Shan reveal, and I was just like, Fennec, yes! I literally wrote in my notes like that. There's like 3 exclamation marks behind her name right here because I was waiting to see when we were gonna see her, and we finally got to see her.
Exactly, yeah. Having such a big impact on her in the Mandalorian, and then seeing her in the trailer, you're like, yeah, when is she coming in? Because she's so obviously such a badass, like bounty hunter, which she's got like a name and people are after her, and yeah, like she's. I think Din Djarin like especially said, oh no, it's her. Like she's the bounty hunter too. She's a dangerous one kind of thing. But anyway, we'll get back to her. So initially the episode starts with the Bad Batch kind of look for a place to hide, and then Echo kind of explains he hears like across some comm chatter that their signal is on a wanted list, so they need to kind of establish that they need to scramble or raise their signal, and they need to kind of repair this. They need to kind of land, so they need to repair their or scramble their signal to do so, and they choose the closest planet, which is called Pantora. They land, and there's they kind of pay a guard. I don't know, he's a security parking attendant almost. So in the same species as Nine, which is pretty cool. And they bribe him kind of not to register their ship. And he kind of he takes the bribe, but he calls Fennec Shan and reports them that he spotted them and spotted the target, which is Omega. So yeah, overall kind of first thoughts on I did notice like they're doing that whole tablet thing again, where they're kind of showing off the whole the kind of art design with like I think Tech had a tablet really close to his face, and the guard had a tablet close to the lighting is amazing. Like the face definition, the CG, the kind of animation is absolutely beautiful. So I noticed they did do that a few times. But yeah, overall kind of thoughts on the beginning of the episode. So
Yeah, I'm just starting to get used to like this lighting because it's just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, anytime that something is like near their face or the lightsaber that we saw in the first episode, it's just like the lighting in the show is absolutely phenomenal. I was It's nice to see a scummy character, like a real scummy character that is just like not in the way of like where we see the clones are now becoming like evil. Whereas this is just a guy who's just like, I'm out for me, and it's those Star Wars characters, those scum and villainy characters, kind of is what he was giving me the vibe of. Like, yeah, pay me so that way I don't register your ship. But I kind of did just like register this check, and it looks like someone's after you. So I'm gonna go call my girl Finnick to come after you because she also, I'll give her the info if she pays me as well. So it's a guy completely out for himself. And like I was just like, oh yay, we're getting these characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the kind of bad characters that are not a part of the Empire, just like random kind of out for themselves, like the Wild West, basically. So a little
Mhm.
bit like that. And then because what my thought was that obviously we've established that she's being tasked or she's been given some kind of bounty to kind of, to kidnap Omega. And I thought that, oh, is that? I thought it was possibly, again, a bit of a stretch, but I thought it was possibly because of the Kaminoans, and maybe they've hired, or maybe they've hired Boba Fett, because he has the whole link to having the original DNA that they were talking about, and he's obviously the unaltered clone. And do Fennec and Boba Fett know each other at this point? Because obviously we know they know each other in the Mandalorian, which is about 30 years from this point. So Boba Fett would be like a teenager, or he'd be really young at this time. So I'm not sure how realistic that is, but I thought maybe they might kind of potentially have a tie in there. So yeah, potentially that was just my theory. But Omega kind of, because I thought maybe she might be the key to this whole Phase 3 thing, where they want to do this Phase 3 clone trooper, and maybe that she could have some kind of involvement with that. That's why they're trying to get her back so much. But anyway, moving on, Hunter and Echo and Omega head into town, where we see the kind of the people, the townsfolk are celebrating the end of the war, and we kind of see people exchanging or trying to claim their credits and handing stuff in for credits for, just to get credits, and almost. And Omega's kind of confused. Is like, why are they kind of celebrating being a part? Or no, she was confused about why is kind of Hunter and Echo concerned, because the public are celebrating the end of the war, and she's like, aren't you, shouldn't you be happy? And then he's like, obviously it depends what side you're on. So interesting stuff there. Again, that's some of my favorite parts, seeing the transition from the Empire, from the Republic to the Empire. And then kind of Omega runs off, and then Fennec Shan kind of picks her up randomly, and then we see kind of a bit more of Fennec Shan's personality, where you see that she is a bit of a scoundrel. She's not kind of, she's trying to almost, I want to say creepy, but like she's being a bit not kind of, I don't know, just not too honest with Omega, and like trying to, sees a random kid in the street, and trying to like bring her in, is teaching her how to steal, and getting her food. And I noticed the lighting as well, more lighting effects in there, because the further she walks away from Hunter, the kind of darker and redder the lighting gets. I noticed, so it's kind of yellow at the start, like she comes across really unassuming, and it gets dark, it gets orange, and it gets kind of dark red around Omega and Fennec Shan there. So really interesting stuff. So yeah, what are your thoughts on kind of Fennec Shan's entrance into the series?
Yeah, when we saw Fennec Shan had specifically like a hologram of Omega, I was like, oh, this is not like the Empire going after them. They didn't hire her. And I first thought, is it the Kaminoans? Because I was just like, who is sending her after Omega? Because it didn't have the Bad Batch, it didn't have anything. It had specifically Omega. So my thought is that it could possibly be them. It might be what Phase 3 is, like you were saying. And then also, like you, I'm enjoying this transition from the Republic to the Empire, and the fact too that like they're celebrating, and it like you're watching it and they're all like happy. And to me, I was like, this is such a tragic scene, because they have no idea what is about to happen, what's about to come, and who knows what happens on this planet later. So it's one of those moments of like, when you're watching it, it's a happy scene, but like, because all of the Star Wars history, kind of like you and I do, I was like, this is actually a pretty tragic moment.
Yeah, so they have to kind of almost sign in for their chain codes to claim credits, and they think they almost believe that they're winning something or celebrating the end of the war, and it's really like you're going to be almost colonized potentially. So yeah, it's really not a good thing.
It's an eerie feeling.
A little bit. And then Hunter kind of catches up with Fennec Shan and Omega. He kind of fights her. He loses. He reports back to the Bad Batch that Fennec Shan is kind of is after the kid. He says specifically the kid. He doesn't say us. He says the kid, and also advises her that she's highly trained. But advises them, the Bad Batch, that she is highly trained. Then kind of further down, Omega runs away into the kind of underground tunnels, and Fennec then runs into Wrecker, who she manages to kind of knock him out, surprisingly, where she kind of throws him off to the side. I'm not sure, like some kind of weird suplex, and then hits his head. A couple of things there. It was a little surprising to me that he managed to knock her out so easy, because he is like super strong. That's his mutant almost power, and she kind of knocked him out quite easy. He did hit his head. Obviously, he's had issues with his head before. Maybe he's feeling the effects. Maybe I thought maybe that might be kind of the final turn of something, or chip might go off or something. But yeah, that was a little strange to me, because I thought, how is she knocking him out like that? So, but yeah, do you have any thoughts on the Wreckers? Wrecker against Fennec Shan, and Hunter against Fennec Shan, their original kind of coming together.
Yeah, that was really quick with Wrecker, and I was like, it must be a chip thing because he had his head hurt. I'm so glad this episode that Wrecker is still okay, because we're on Wrecker watch here. So each episode, let's have him be okay. One thing we did forget to mention is that Echo went around town dressed up as a droid.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got sold.
Yeah,
he got sold because they needed the credits. And so that's so you have all of these droids pretty much separated at this moment, because Wrecker's down in that tunnel, Echo's with the other droids, Hunter is chasing after Fennec Shan, and then we have Tech back at the ship trying to get it all back together. So it's the first moment that we see all of them separated. And so, because typically it's always like two here together when they separate. This is the first time it's like they're each alone at the moment.
Yeah, and then Omega's alone as well, because she's kind of running when Wrecker's knocked out. She runs kind of the top of this some kind of transport building. She's hanging off the side, and I thought the scene, the effects, the way it looks, the music was all really reminiscent of Attack of the Clones, when Anakin and Obi-Wan, or after I think I forgot her name, the Sam Whistle character. Yeah, the kind of I think she's kind of bounty hunter that's working with Jango Fett. So something really similar to them scenes. And then the kind of fight throughout the sky, then like some kind of again similar to Attack of the Clones, where Hunter actually blows up her ship. She kind of survives again. So there's kind of numerous. She kind of limps away from the bomb being exploded on the ship. But yeah, we've kind of realized that she is a very highly trained bounty hunter. She's very resilient. Just kind of really efficient and effective bounty hunter, where these exchanges, she's kind of coming, if she isn't coming off on top, then she's surviving and there to fight another day. And I think she just looks badass as well, that helmet that she's got and the kind of CG that's on it as well. So yeah, thoughts on that final kind of fight scene, and her surviving and then kind of limping off, and all that kind of Attack the Clones type stuff.
I love the little bit of foreshadowing that happened in the very beginning of the episode. It's that he took that bomb, and then Wrecker was just like, no, not the bomb. And he's like, we need to sell it. We need to eat. We have no food. They try to sell it. They were like, no, that sells on the black market. This is a respectable business. So that's why Echo ends up getting sold. And so the fact that he has that bomb, he wouldn't have had that. That would have been on the ship. So like that little foreshadowing of having that to use that. And then just Fennec looks like a total badass. She definitely had a superhero landing after jumping off the ship that blew up. So it was that moment of just like that. You put on the helmet, and I was like, oh, there's going to be so many people cosplaying with that helmet now. I just
definitely
see it.
Definitely, and she kills a lot of people as well. I thought again that was like these random shooting people at point blank range and things like that. So it always kind of surprises you when it happens. And then they, cuts back to Tech, and he's kind of the ship's now fully operational. They managed to scramble their signal with the help of the droids and stuff. And then the guard lets the Bad Batch kind of get away, or they slip out of his hands. And then Fennec Shan kind of tells him, she tips him off, and then tells him to report back to her if they're spotted again. And then she kind of speaks on some kind of comm link and explains that she tells someone, we don't know who. She tells someone they let him get away, but she's obviously going to try get them again another time, but don't know who that is, of course. And then and then the kind of scene ends. So yeah, overall thoughts on the ending of the scene where they kind of fly off, and then who she's talking to. Any thoughts on that, or any theories?
The fact too that the character that's the same species as Nim Num, like the fact that he was absolutely terrified of Fennec when like she was coming, that means like she has a reputation in this galaxy at this time. And so I'm excited to see what exactly that reputation is and what she's done. Maybe we'll get a comic of before and after also with this show, because I need some more Fennec in my life. But the fact too that she was just like, no, here's some credits, let me know. And I really want to know who she was contacting there.
Mhm.
I think it's the Kaminoans. I really do. But who knows? We'll probably find out in the next few episodes.
Yeah. So overall thoughts on the episode. So for me, like I've seen one too many of these crash land on a random planet, have a few small adventures, get what you need, and kind of go off and not really have any effect on the overall plot. I've seen this over Rebels, over Clone Wars. I've seen it in The Mandalorian. Didn't need to see it again. I got a feeling it's going to happen again. And you see, there's 14 episodes. I think this kind of thing may happen again. It is, it's fine. It's fun. It's just a little slow. It feels like a video game at times, like a side mission on a video game. And it's a big change from that first episode, as we explained, like how much dramatic stuff happened and excellent storytelling was in that first episode. And the main thing about the biggest selling point about this is how is Order 66 implemented into the people on, with the boots on the ground, the transition from the Republic to the Empire, the overall political situations. Where's Rex? Where's Ahsoka? All the other kind of clones of their situation. There's so many other tie-ins. Crosshair, what's happening with Wrecker, and we didn't kind of touch on anything almost. It was just a complete side mission, which is okay. I don't want too many of these moving forward because there's a lot to cover. It's slowing the series down, I felt, but it wasn't a bad episode, but like I said, it was a little slow. But overall thoughts on the episode, please, Sol.
Yeah, I agree. It was a slower episode, and it was one of those, like, the most interesting part is the things that are happening with Crosshair and with Grand Admiral Tarkin, or whatever his rank is at the moment. I know there's been arguments about what it is at the moment, but
the king
online.
of the galaxy.
Yeah.
The evil, he's the evil doctor of the whole galaxy. Yeah.
The fact that we didn't get any of that in this episode at all. It just felt very filler, even though we did get the reveal of Fennec Shan. And I think that's the only thing that's keeping this episode at like a high part, is because Fennec Shan was there. If she did not show up at all and it was just some random person, this would have been and like right now it's not I'm not saying it's a bad episode, but it is the worst episode of the season so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it starts off high. Second episode was good. Third was okay. This was definitely slow. But we need to get back up to that high again. But yeah, I would like to see maybe if they double up some episodes or do a longer one, like an hour episode, that kind of, or do two in a day, that kind of thing. So that's really cool, because there is, like I said, a lot to cover. But yeah, anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the previous episodes as well, getting, decent views on that. Please like the videos. Getting 1,000+ views and not even getting 100 likes. So please like the video, drop your comments in. What else, what are your guys' predictions? What do you guys think of this episode? What do you want moving forward in the series? Just like, comment, subscribe. Lots of stuff coming on the channel. So yeah, see you guys next week, episode 5 review. And thanks for watching, and see you guys next week.